to Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary Podcast. This is your host, Scotty B. And of course, the shameless pitches at the beginning of the show, which you can skip through if you like, but you can always find me online. First at Vero, True Social, Scotty B Official. On Instagram, it's Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Twitter at HoCS Podcast. Find me on Facebook at the same, LinkedIn, Scotty B the Brand. And of course, you can find the podcast on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes. Make sure you leave a review and let me know what you think of the show. It's easy to find, and you can find it on YouTube. Always the interviews every Friday. There's a new video on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. And every Thursday for the season, the new 52, Season 1, we're cruising right through it. And we've got a few more episodes left, and we'll start it back up towards the end of the year. So there will be some time in there where there's nothing coming out, but hey, that's okay. We're going to get ready for Season 2, and it's going to be great. And of course, a special thanks to all of my guests and supporters online. The show is so much more with you, and I appreciate so much that you shared with us your insights, your stories, your fandoms, everything and anything that you have worked so hard on inside of the industry and inside of the community. Thanks so much to each and every one of you. And of course, if you want to be on the show or you have a question or a comment, please feel free to email me at ScottyB or ScottyB, SCOTTYB, at HOCSpodcast.com, and we can have that conversation. Always look forward to hearing from people. So today's show is called Why Do I Want Attention? What is attention? Why do we crave it? Why do we need it so much? Why are we all after it? And why is it the new measure of success in the world? On how many people click the button and how many people look at your feed? Is it really just vanity metrics? And what do I mean by vanity metrics? Is it because we find value in what other people think of us? Is that why we need the attention? Because attention is the new metric, and I've heard it said by other people in the online community that they post so often, and they just keep posting, and they keep putting everything out there on media because attention is the new ROI. You want to be in front of people so that they can have the opinion about you, so that they can find out more about you, that they can find out that they need you, or that they know you, like you, and trust you, and they want to buy from you. Attention becomes currency. And I think that's what a lot of people in the marketing world are trying to start to push. Are we doing it because we want to get discovered? Is that also one of the reasons why we put ourselves out in media? That we just want to get that call or that direct message from that sponsorship or from that brand or for that unique proposition, that someone sees that we've been working hard and growing a following, and they say, oh, I would be really, we'll send you this stuff for free, and we'll send you this, and we'll give you that. And it becomes a way to get stuff, or it becomes a way to go viral. And I have my opinion about going viral. So a lot of people are trying to game it, and have for a long time. The jump on a bandwagon, only strike when the iron's hot, instead of being consistent and being true to your brand, but just trying to create like some sort of a viral piece of content every single time you create content just to go viral so that you can get millions of people looking at you. If you're putting out content just to go viral, I don't know if it's really going to be A, that unique, B, anything that you would consider true to yourself or to your brand. So you have to be very careful with the viral world that we live in, and I guess this is probably the wrong time to use that term. It is the term. You go out there and suddenly everybody catches on to what you are producing, and that's the only reason why you're doing it in some cases. So be careful of that. Be mindful of that. I certainly am. I don't create this podcast because I want 1 million people to flock to it overnight, or that I'm going to feel offended when they don't. The reason for calling attention to any of the topics that I bring up by myself or with my guests are because I believe that they are important or that they are of significance to discuss. And this is about discussion. It's about having a voice inside of an industry that you find interesting. And I've been saying that since the podcast started, is that I really wanted to connect with this because of the space that it is, because of the people that are involved with the space and all the interesting things they do inside and outside of cosplay. There are some really talented people out there in this space. Not just some. There are a lot. And it's so much diversity, and there's so many different walks of life, and every country gets involved, everybody, because we can all find common ground inside of cosplay. And you don't have to be the greatest, most skilled person on earth. I think it's more about getting better at something, building a skill, finding your ability inside of acting or modeling or makeup or design or costuming or entertainment. There's entertainment value to what we do. There's value to the community for what we do. And there's an understanding of why. Hopefully, when you build that following, that you're reinforcing that why and the growth in skill and the understanding and how you've developed. And it's a journey for you, just like it is with me in the podcast. You know, I wasn't nearly as prepared as I am now to put together casts on my own when I first started, but I wanted to do it. Even though the older casts will always get more clicks, for whatever reason, people always want to scroll to the beginning and start over, and not necessarily to the newer ones, but hey, I won't complain. If you want to listen to the old casts, it's great. Go on YouTube and check them all out. You can tell that there is growth and development, and when you get to the 100th cast and you look back on the first one, you'll say, wow, how did I go so far? And you'll do that with the cosplays too. So you look at what you used to do and you look at what you're doing now and how many ever years have gone by or days or weeks or whatever the case is. You look at it and you go, man, I've done a pretty good job. Good for me. It leads to doing something offline and getting better, or maybe even being held accountable. So why do you want the attention? Maybe you want the attention because it's accountability for what you're doing. Sort of like it is with me. I've mentioned more than once that I will have a program coming out at some point in the future, to some extent. I don't know how much more there will be or if the name will change, but that's what we're calling it right now. It's Codename Avalon. And it will be a program that I will offer. And hopefully it will have enough value that you will want to see what it's about. But that's me holding myself accountable. That's not me shamelessly pitching something and trying to get you interested in a buy. I don't care about the purchase. It's just something that I want to offer outside of, the standard in the industry, which is to have a Patreon or a Ko-Fi coffee account, things like that, and to create the attention, or to develop a YouTube channel and build a subscription base and to have people increase your watch time so that you can earn residuals on the advertisements that get placed inside of your content. That is a very hard thing to do. But the more attention that you get, the more you try to go viral, the easier it becomes. But is it sustainable, and is it really the reason why you should be seeking attention online? If you don't have a strong why, if it really is just because, why do you climb that mountain? Why do you want 500,000 followers? Is it because they're there, just like a mountain? Like, oh, I'm going to climb it because it's there, because I can, because it wasn't put there for me to climb, but I can climb it, so I'm going to try. And that's, let's get 500,000 followers because, hey, we can try to do it. We'll just come up with content and try to do what everybody else is doing. And maybe that is your reason for building. And maybe there isn't a strategy involved with that. And maybe you're frustrated because it's not your idea. It's just the idea that you think everyone is looking for. Maybe you're just trying to be in that viral space, and it frustrates you that not everybody's clicking and not everybody's liking, and it's the algorithm, darn this algorithm, and I hate Instagram and blah blah blah. But is it really that? Is it really about that? Is that your reason for doing all of this? Maybe it is just because, or just for fun. That's another very good point. We don't have to be on here to curate a bunch of likes and follows, but we could do it for fun. It's personal enjoyment. And isn't that what cosplay is? It's a hobby that adds joy and enhances life to some degree for some people. Sure. Some people like Formula One racing. Some people watch rugby. Some people collect hats. I don't know. Whatever it is that you do, it's your thing. It can be fun. Like, why not just let it be fun? But hey, why have a focus or care if you're creating great content? People watch it. Don't forget to do it for you. And I hear that from my mentors online, that they create things in a space and they're very careful to be sure that they don't forget to create for themselves, just like they do for everyone else, because it should resonate with you. It should be something that you want to do for you. If you pick a cosplay because everybody else is, or because it's going to be the next big thing, like there's a new movie coming out with, everybody's going to jump on how do I make a bat logo out of a gun? How do I craft that? I have to make that so accurate because we need it to be the next movie. It doesn't matter about what every other Batman that's happened, but the new one, that's the one everybody's going to want to look at. That's the one. So the faster I can make that costume, the faster I can get out there. Are you having fun doing that? Or are you just doing it so that you can get more eyeballs on it? You can get more attention on it. It can just be for fun. You could just do an Adam West version of Batman because it's fun for you. And maybe you just want to sew a costume and not create armor plating or have all of this crazy weathered detail inside of a symbol of a bat. Or maybe you don't want a motorcycle version of Batman. I don't know. It's really up to you. Do you really think you have to? Do you think because everybody else is doing it, everybody else is saying this is the way to go, this is the trend, do it or you'll sink? What does that do? It creates stress. That's what it does. It creates stress for you, and it becomes a job. It's not a hobby anymore. It's really just a job of making content, trying to get it out there as fast as you can, doing all the editing and all of the, you turn it into the rest of everything, that everything becomes a chore. And none of it really creates any joy, and you kind of lose your way with passion, or you believe that the struggle is the passion, or you believe that it has to have some rigor involved with it, or it has to be frustrating as if that was the only way to fly, that you can never really get better at something. You have to always be behind, and I don't really agree with that. I think that mastery is important. At a certain point, you need to pick something and you have to get really good at it. There are certain aspects of cosplay that you can get very good at, and that will actually help build attention. If you pick one thing, you work with it to build the attention, to become better, it'll work for you. It'll be more. And you know what? Even if it isn't, not that big of a deal, because it's something that you wanted to get better at. Whether it's foam armor or sewing, weathering a costume, whatever that thing is, you don't necessarily have to be the best at every single aspect. And you know what? At a certain point, it takes more than one person having a lot of skills, or it takes you reaching out to somebody for some help. And I guess that's a different form of attention. By no means would you sink to the bottom. You didn't do what everybody else was doing. So let's talk about marketing for just a moment. Not my big reason for doing it, but one of the reasons why I do all of this is because it is sort of an experiment in marketing. And it's something that I can also help other people with to some degree. So if you're looking at this and you're looking at what you can do inside of the program, or even to reach out to the community, because the first thing is first, if no one knows that you exist or no one knows that you want to do something, they're not going to reach out to you so that you can do it. You have to kind of make that for yourselves. In a way, there is sales and marketing involved with what you put out there in cosplay. You want other people to know. You do want that underpriced attention that you can build in social media. You can show people what you're capable of doing. You can see what you're comfortable doing, and you can grow on that. For me, it might be creating a studio or a product or building Avalon. Whatever that will be for you, and using the tools within media that are present right now in the market to bring that to you. And of course, I'm just one person, so there's only so much that I can put out there at a time on so many different platforms. I'm not putting 10 posts a day on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Vero, and YouTube, but I could, and I guess Snapchat if that were my thing. I don't. I might put 10 pieces of content out there a day, which I still think is a lot, but there are people who are doing 50, 100, 150. It just doesn't end. For a lot of people, it's just every single thing is being documented, and good for you. In the end, you find your audience. You give, because that's really the important thing for me, is that all of this is about giving back in some way. So the podcast for me is giving back to you, and if we can share in that, that's great. That's why I am always so excited to have guests on the show, because that is something that I can give back and they can give back. We can share that space and I can learn. And I do enjoy doing that. You know, there are the other pieces of this which will be built as we go, the sales funnels, the brand awareness, the brand consistency, just different topics that are going to come up as I move through this season and the next. Just look at all of the different things that are in store. And that is why I want the attention, not to draw attention to myself, to have it, because in these spaces it is very underpriced. Building organically has never been easier. At any time, you don't have to buy space on television or radio. You can use any one of these free apps and you can put your content out there. Sure, there might be some cost. You know, creating a podcast is like creating a blog in this day and age, and there is a little bit of cost in hosting, but it's not a ton. It's completely doable for anybody who wants to get into it. And even YouTube, it's a hard thing to do, but it is doable. You can get a camera for $25, $35. You can just use your phone, and you can start putting things out there. 3 to 5 minute videos. If it's what people want, if it's quality, and it is what also you want, so you find that ground and you find that tribe, you find your people out there in the space, you just keep building on it. And that's the why, is to build. You know, keep building. Use the attention, but don't get so into the attention. Don't make it a job. Like I said before, that isn't going to feel too good. And you're going to wonder how much longer you can keep it up, and you're going to wonder how much more you can do, and you're going to get tired, and you're going to get burned out. That isn't what we want to see here. What we want this to be is a safe space for cosplayers and people in the industry to share their stories and insights and interests and their fandoms. So one more time, this is Scotty B. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye.